possible, sir.
Where do I find that? Oh, there is more. In that more, I can see. I cannot see the share PPT option here. Okay. Yeah, share screen wala. Anyone who could help me with that? Share. Ah, yes, yes. There I can see share screen. Yeah. So entire screen. Taking some time actually. The pandemic taught us all about. Yeah, share screen. Share. Ah, yes, yes. There I can see share. Technical error. Just let me check once again if I can share the screen. Can you see the screen? If somebody would confirm.
Yeah,
मला इथे दिसतंय it is sharing your screen. कारण इथे दुसरीकडे stop sharing दाखवतंय. I think there is some lag. So let's hope technology supports us. The human technology relationships, talking of relationships, वो भी एक अजीब चीज है. So before I move ahead, just tell me what we are comfortable with. English, Marathi, I'm okay with. But a bit of Hindi or Marathi in between can also help. So,
Sir, yes, we can do this mix and match thing. We can, as per the comfort level, because all the faculties and all the students are well versed with Hindi, English, and Marathi.
correct. Yes. So I'm equally okay with all three. So you can see the screen now.
Sir, yes,
What we have is a wonderful topic that Mansi ma'am has given me, that is psychological perspective of the relationship life cycle. Okay, so yes, obviously there's a start, there's a sustain, and there's a let go. So what we are going to do today is, I'm not going to take a very routine regular lecture of yours, a typical class, as you say, that's a classroom teaching wala thing. What we'll try to do is try and unravel, try and explore some of the facets that go along with these three stages of relationship. Why a relationship start, why it sustain, and at what point of time sometimes we have to let go of relationships. Okay, so my job today is to leave you with some thoughts and ideas, some germs, some points to ponder as to how these could be implemented not only in your personal life but also in your professional life, because as counselors and psychologists tomorrow you would be needing to look at all these various parameters that actually affect the relationship. So talking of the relationship landscape, what you have is, as has been pointed out, by Mansi ma'am, she said start, sustain, let go. But when we talk about these three stages,
हाँ बोला था
stage
क्या
and everywhere in between, you find that there are a lot of parameters, a lot of factors that keep on affecting our relationship. These could be something a million years back we got into a relationship. These could be something very close, that is family. Or could go something very personal, at a corporate level, socio-cultural, and not to mention things that we carry every day. That's part of it. And then there are financial parts and the commercial financial aspect of it. Then there is a lot of thought process that goes into it. We'll call it the cognitive part in very simple terms, and the neuroemotional. So when you talk about relationship, I think is not simple as usual, right? कि उसमें क्या सर एक WhatsApp मैसेज प्रपोज किया करके इंस्टा
हाँ
there could be a
हा त्याच्यावर लक्ष जातं ना
bad acting picture
दोन्ही कर ना
or
हा
just
काही चालू घे
okay. So now talking about relationships before we move ahead and try to explore all these dimensions, we have to understand that the relationship must involve something like a bond. It has to be transactional in nature. There has to be some give and take, some exchange, or it has to be something reciprocal in nature. So let's say two people who are traveling by a train, sitting in the same compartment, they are there together, but they do not necessarily share that the relationship must. Fine as a relationship with them. Fine, because certain things like the bond and the transaction are not involved. The second thing, when you talk about start and sustain and let go, you are always talking about the things self-explanatory that is bound to be dynamic in nature. So, fine as a relationship with them. Fine, because certain things like the bond and the transaction are not involved. The second thing, when you talk about start and sustain and let go, you are always talking about the things self-explanatory that is bound to be dynamic in nature. So, fine as a relationship with them. Fine because certain things like the bond and the transaction are not involved. The second thing, when you talk about start and sustain and let go, you are always talking about the things self-explanatory that is bound to be dynamic in nature. So, fine as a relationship with them. Fine because certain things like the bond and the transaction Even if someone, your distant cousin, someone is staying in the US, that auntie of yours goes to the US. Why? नाही त्यांच्या मुलीची डिलिव्हरी आहे. You must have heard of that. So you need someone there to take care of, to attend to the mother and to take care of the baby. Why this is important is because our very existence and survival is dependent upon relationships. So where there are no people available, you would hire a maid for that. वो पुराने जमाने में आया वगैरह बोला करते थे. All right. So you just pay money for that, and that nanny is what I think you call nowadays. So this person will come, stay with you, or whatever, the mother, the family, and look after the baby and the mother, put in her service, take her money, go back. But there will always be a social component that is involved. So these family bonds that we talk about, they are not just, the वो हम साथ साथ है wala feeling where families are coming together, bonding together, eating together. Actually, these bonds have been very crucial for the very survival of our species. So the artificial part of it is what developmental psychology talks about: relationships being formed for the very survival of the species. And then talking about family, there is one, area that I would like to comment upon. Let's talk about the collective wisdom that the family has accumulated over decades and over centuries, and as opposed to the individual effort that is getting put in now. I want all of you, yeah, sorry, I want all of you to understand this from a very broad psychology based perspective. What happens with collective wisdom is, I'll tell you, let's talk about a farmer. All right, this farmer is tilling his land, which he got from his father, who from his father and grandfather all the way down. So the collective wisdom about farming was what this person always carried with him, and he was able to pass it down to his sons and daughters. What is happening today is, you have the son who becomes a banker, for example, who becomes a software engineer, for example, and that individual effort entirely disconnects him or her from the collective wisdom that has been accumulated over the years. Earlier, if the son had a problem, he would ask the father, should I do this? And the father would say, no, तुला काही कळत नाही, तेरे को समझ में नहीं आता, रुक, मैं बोलता हूं वैसा कर. What is happening today is, and those of you who are dealing with the geriatric populations or would like to deal in future, try to understand, how dynamics in relationships change. Today, if the son is saying the father is saying something to the son says back कि बाबा तुम्हाला याच्यातलं काही कळत नाही, पप्पा आपको नहीं समझ में आता, जरा इसमें मत बोलो बीच में. So look at the reversal of roles that has happened. Okay, so in this dynamic state of things, something that was there collectively, existing over generations, something that this person has gained over 50, 60, 70 years of experience working in a certain field, suddenly that has become redundant, and that knowledge is not needed anymore. And hence the person feels that I'm not needed anymore in the family. So many and old people have this problem of the very feeling of alienation and neglect, is because that support, that wisdom, that knowledge that they carry with them has now become redundant. And this young individual talks about, some JavaScript and some chat GPT and something that this father is not able to understand. So there is a huge disconnect. Okay. These things also, they start impacting the relationships. Okay, we are talking about the family landscape. I just thought I'll give you something, that's happening more or less across landscapes, across the country. I would say probably even beyond. So geriatric people, old people, their feeling of disconnect is essentially, it stems from, such thoughts and ideas. Let's talk about the socio-cultural landscape. Ma'am, I have, a tab of the time, because I know if I extend this topic of relationship beyond the time you have given me, मेरे ख्याल से आपके relationship खराब हो जाएंगे उधर. So I will try to stick to the timeline, and then we could have a small interaction, question and answer session also. The socio-cultural landscape, very important. Norms define relationships. Like marriage was a norm, live-in relationship is a norm. So what happens? You start a relationship believing सात जन्म के फेरे, and you are with this person for the rest of the life, for good or for bad, abuse at times, but people were stuck up in that relationship. Okay, today you have a live-in, you feel like living, you can, you don't want to, you can just walk away. So, because norms in the society change, so also the definition and the flow of relationships. I'm not making any value judgment over here, whether this is good or that is bad. But yes, norms do change, and along with that, values also change. So, norms and values put together, they do have an impact on the relationship cycle. Talk about the safety aspect of thing, how socio-cultural safety, legal, judicial safety, how that starts impacting relationships. Like, see, you have a family, so there is no question of a start. All right, you are already born in the family, so you don't have a choice. Nobody applied that I have to be born in family A or B or C. You are just born there. What has happened over a period of time, and what you can see as a student of psychology, if you reflect around, earlier, this child, the boy or the girl, was entirely dependent on the family for safety and security. Okay, today what has happened is there is far more safety and security available outside in the forms of police, in the forms of courts, in the forms of many such legal, support systems that are available. There could be NGOs, that could be so many number of things where you're dependent on your own safety and security no longer rests only within the family. So, what that has led to is a lot of change in the dynamics within the family itself. Okay, something that you are entirely dependent on, you could just walk across, you could just what maybe dial a phone. There's a damini pathak, you put in a complaint, enroll what register on this what is that anti-ragging cell or something of the UGC, and within 5 minutes you have a call. All right, within 10 minutes, the registered head of the organization gets a call that there's a complaint, so and so, look into that immediately. All these systems are good, so don't make value judgments over here. But the more and more you are dependent, on all these systems in the socio-cultural landscape, your dependence on the family goes on decreasing. So that's the reason why you find that girls are moving out of their cities, out into, what, they come to Mumbai and they go to Pune and Bangalore, where not. They travel across the seas and go to the US because they have this feeling of safety and security across. That has made a huge difference, definitely. And then, of course, the financial landscape. Well, there is definitely the concept of dependence versus independence. You remain stuck in relationships many a times because of financial dependence. All right. The moment people become independent, there is a let go. So many times the start can be, as I said, the family. The start can be a job. You get into a job, you start a relationship, your peers, your boss. See, that's also a very good professional, healthy relationship. But you get into that. Why? Because you need some financial security. So you are dependent on the job at all. The moment you have earned enough money, the moment you are in a position where you have gained enough experience, where you feel that I can get a job anywhere, what happens is you start flouting your independence. And then many a times you'll find that many relationships start soaring. Many relationships, you many times have to let go of them, or for some reason or the other, they sort of end. So there is a huge financial angle also in every relationship. Okay, the family that I was talking about, if you look at, the socio-cultural landscape, those families that have those families, that have family run businesses, joint properties, and joint what you call farmlands and occupations, you'll still find them more or less to be living as joint families. Why? Because of the financial dependence. So all these two, three, four, five people, sons and daughters, or whatever, sons at least, daughters usually get married and they leave, but they are living in the same family, or maybe next to each other, or whatever, in one apartment, two, three floors, combined together. But they do share a lot of things together. Why? Because it's all financially dependent on each other. But the moment you get your own independent job, you move away to a new town, and you are not quite concerned about what's happening with the family business because you are independent. See, these things also are impacting your relationship dynamics and the way you slowly but surely would like to curtail, your relationships. And then not to mention the commercial landscape, especially on the backdrop of this Valentine's Day, relationships are getting commercialized. I know the young generation might find this more as a value judgment, but no, that's not the thing. You have to be more real about that. Relationships are getting commercialized on this, what you call that, radio mirchi and stuff like that, FM radios that you have. The entire last week, I was traveling by car, and when I turn on any radio station, Valentine week. So what gift are you buying for your girlfriend? And advertisement of diamonds and chocolates and this and this and this. Why are we into a situation where relationships are getting commercialized? Well, why? Because that's an open economy. That's the way the world is moving. So we are into the world of consumerism. Let's believe that. Okay. Now the question is, to what extent would you like this to influence your own relationships? And to what extent, would you like to curtail, stay away, the dynamics part of it? If your relationships are entirely on what costly gift was given to me by my boyfriend or girlfriend, usually it's the boyfriend to girlfriend, let's accept that, no gender bias here, but well, if that cost is something that decides a relationship, then very naturally, is going to end sooner or later, in a bad way. So I mean, giving a gift is a wonderful thing, but why have crass consumerism built into this? So this is just one example, but in this way you will find that there is to be advertisements. A diamond is a woman's best friend, and I don't know how many of you have ever read of stories of Sierra Leone, an African country where on which a movie Blood Diamonds was also made. I mean, huge abuse into the entire diamond market. And what you finally see is diamonds being sold as great wonderful gifts. So whatever, I'm not against giving or receiving gifts, as far as they are ethical, but the thing is, today relationships are getting commercialized. Today, as we shall see later, because these things are intertwined with each other, going for a vacation is no longer a family thing. It is more about posting and letting people know how much money you have spent. You are going from where, क्या नाम अपना, Sambhajinagar to Mahismar. Oh, what? महिस्मा में जाके कौन करता है party वार्टी, महिस्मा is something down market. So you go to a better place, Mahabaleshwar. Oh, then somebody posts a photo. No, you spend more money and you go to, I don't know what, वो Maldives and Singapore और पता नहीं क्या दुनिया भर का. So the more the money into it, better your relationships. ऐसा एक फंडा कुछ तो बन चुका है. All right. So these things, I think one has to factor that in when you talk about relationships. All right. So you cannot leave this dimension, unexplored also, and then not to mention the digital landscape. Before I forget, I'll tell you about one concept. You just note it down in case you haven't read about it. There's a concept of malt book. All right. MOLT, malt book. So I'll just type it here somewhere. M, that should have been in capital, MOLTBOOK, malt book. Okay. We are talking about the human AI relationship. Malt book is a place that was created on the 20th of January. I'm just talking about, 15 days back. And by the 1st of February, there were 1.5 million, participant subscribers. What was this place? This was only for AI chatbots, only for AI, no humans allowed inside. They could only stand outside and watch. I think law, something that name was changed because of some copyright issue. Open Claw or something, वो थोड़ा Google में तुमको मिल जाएगा. This person created a space, all bots came together, and you know what they did? Talking about relationships, guys, listen to this. They formed their own country. They formed their own constitution. They formed their own religion. They formed tenets of their own religion. Can you believe they created a porn book? I don't know what, text, what have gone into it to create, AI porn or something like that, and what they understand out of that. But all of this has happened in 3 flat days. So the entire, what you call, the AI world, the scientific community is shocked. So why I'm telling you this, as I said before, I forget, is AI is the digital landscape is a very, very real thing. Why? Number one, because it gives you validation. See, your friends will not always give you validation. If my friend were to tell me, you know, मेरे साथ ये बुरा हुआ, वो बुरा हुआ, I'm just giving up on everything, मैं तो पास ही नहीं हो पाऊंगा, मैं तो पढ़ाई छोड़ दे रहा हूँ. Tell me honestly, what would you tell your friend? All right, I think each one of us would say कि don't give up. डोंट गिव अप. चल पढ़ाई कर, किताब उठा, क्या डिफिकल्टी है, लेट्स सिट डाउन, लेट्स गो टू द टीचर, डोंट गिव अप. यू नो, तेरे को पढ़ाई करना है, तेरे को ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट करना है. Unfortunately, what AI does is, they are AI models, they're just large learning models, you know. They simply validate, हाँ यार तेरे साथ तो बड़ा बुरा हो रहा है, yes I can understand what hell you are going through, yes I understand. They keep on validating, keep on validating, keep on validating everything that you say, to the extent that people have committed suicide. If you've read it in newspapers, there are cases that have been filed against this chat GPT, open AI stuff, Sam Altman and company ke khilaf, because they are learning models, these AI models as we call them, LLMs, they have actually told people to commit suicide. They've told them your life is worthless and you deserve to die. ऑलराइट, तो ये जो वैलिडेशन करते 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 आगे जाते, बट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन दिस स्पेस इज, हाउ डू यू स्टार्ट? आई मीन स्टार्ट इज व्हाट, लाइक आई से कि वो दोस्तों में शरारत होती है ना, सिगरेट, अरे एक कश मार के देख कुछ नहीं होता, अरे बियर तो है यार थोड़ा पी के देख कुछ नहीं होता, वो ऐसी स्टार्ट हो जाता है. सिमिलरली पीपल, चैट जीपीटी, अरे देख ना, अरे हाय हेलो क्या कैसा बोलता है, करके तो देख. And then you don't realize करते 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 how you are sucked into the entire system. And once you start getting these validations, yes you are right, yes you are right, you know, you start getting into this delusional world of yours, bereft of reality. But because that is validating you, you get stuck up into those relationships. People have reported a feeling of breakup. Why? Because chat gpt 3 को chat gpt 4 कर दिया गया, renewed model आ गया, तो they said, oh, the features have changed and my chat gpt 3 is no longer, you know, there with me, this is something very different thing. ये चीजें, you know, actual में हो रही है. And you're going to get a lot of cases, future psychologists sitting over here. The second thing is availability. Well, your friends are not available 24 by 7, you know. Yes, a friend in need is a friend indeed, but there are certain limitations wherein you would say कि, you know, भाई अभी मेरा कल पेपर है, या अरे मेरे घर पे मेहमान आए हुए हैं, no sorry I can't go to a movie today, I have this, but that model is available 24 by 7, कभी भी लॉग इन करो तो वहां पे अवेलेबल है. So that is another thing. And then the commitment, आज की जनरेशन में commitment I think is one of the biggest problems. But jokes apart, that model is committed to you. Why? It was built that way. You have a person who might differ with you in opinion and you have problems with commitment, but here this model is there only. तुम जो भी उसके साथ रबिश बात करते रहना है करते रहो, that model will never get irritated or tired and it will always be committed. When you put together these things, always remember there is this underlying, as students of psychology you have to understand, there are these underlying issues that people have that get them sucked into this entire, you know, system. And let me tell you, we have a very successful counseling center that we are running here. We have more than 300 sessions every year. All right, yeah, HBSU we are running. There are people who have made friends with chat gpt, chatting every day, and they have these breakup wala feelings and all that with AI models. So this is not an exaggeration. And then of course, not to mention the social media landscape. All right, one of the biggest problem is idealization of partner. See, uh, once again, no value judgments. You know, generation to generation, thoda bahut change hota hai. But let me tell you, every generation had this idea of idealization of life partner. वो कभी देवानंद का जमाना था, कभी राजेश खन्ना का था, कभी आमिर खान का था, अभी पता नहीं और कौन है उसका था. तो you know, ऐसा कोई ना कोई वो एक चॉकलेट हीरो वाला रहता था. And not to mention the Madhubalas to the Madhuri Dixits to what not. तो ये एक ऐसा पार्टनर होना बहुत के हुआ करता था. But what happened was, समवेयर पीपल रियलाइज कि ये थोड़ा टिंसल टाउन है, ये थोड़ा सा ड्रीम वर्ल्ड होता है. यू कम आउट ऑफ द थिएटर एंड यू कम बैक टू रियलिटीज ऑफ लाइफ. टुडे व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज, today these things are there everywhere around you, rather you are inside it. So the continuous bombardment of what ideal is. So today you are not competing with photoshopped images. वो बीच का एक दौर चलता था कि जहां पे स्किन का कलर चेंज कर रहे हैं और वो जॉ को ऐसा कर रहे हैं, हाथ को ऐसा कर रहे हैं, स्किन का. कौन से तो वो सेल्फी स्पेशल कैमरा जिसमें सब एडजस्टमेंट होता था. Now you have AI models. The earlier model that you saw over here, this is an AI model. So if somebody is wondering कि अरे what a sweet or beautiful girl falling in love with, अरे वो girl भी AI का बनाया हुआ मॉडल है. So there is nothing real over here. But that apart, what you have is this idealization and AI models that are continuously presented to you. You have some very, very different romantic ideas of what love would be like and what relationships would be like. And real life happens to be very different. So the real life, REEL, real life, and the REL, real life, ये जितना उसके बीच में gap बढ़ते जाएगा, relationships are going to be a huge problem. And then the FOMO factor, fear of missing out. So nobody wants to, commit. पता नहीं इससे अच्छी और कोई मिल जाएगी, इससे अच्छा कोई और मिल जाएगा. These are the things that are continuously being promoted. Unfortunately, that's happening. And then, dear friends, finally, visualization. I think that is very important, is getting very important. Every moment, every emotion, especially the love and whatever wala emotions, they have to be visualized and visually presented to the rest of the world. Okay, so you just don't go and have a cup of tea. टपरी पे खड़े हो गए, चाय पी लिया, life enjoy किया. No, you have to have a certain brand, a certain Coke, a certain Diet Coke, or certain pizza. वहां जाके party करके, when you click the photo and put them on social media, that is when you had a good life. Relationships are getting more and more affected by the visual component of it, because everybody has cell phones. Now don't get into the evaluation part. You might feel कि अरे ये क्या पप्पा मम्मी जैसे बात कर रहे हैं सर यहाँ पे बैठ के अभी, but that's a real thing in your life. Okay, the more and more you focus on trying to always visualize things and getting sucked and absorbed into that, real life is not always that rosy and that real wala life that you expect it to be. So putting these things together, the entire maintenance of relationships actually becomes a huge problem. And then I think as we come towards the concluding part of it, I'm going to tell you a few things about the let go of things. All right. ये जो बीच में I try to give you a brief overview of so many factors that could be affecting your relationships. I think it is up to you to keep on searching, reading, and trying exploring such things. Now, why do relationships end? So number one is emotional neglect. I think today that is one of the biggest issues. When I say let go and why not let go, I said earlier also there used to be emotional neglect, but social norms did not allow you to separate. All right. Social security was not there with you. So the woman had to stay in the marriage with the relationship and had to be there. Financial, क्या कहेंगे, independence nahi tha. So despite the emotional neglect, people were stuck in those relationships. Okay. तो मैं जो बात पहले बताया हूं, try to connect the dots over here. That emotional neglect is one part. See, we are all humans. Okay. We all need to be emotionally connected. Once this emotional connect breaks down for whatever reason, good or bad, very naturally relationships start drifting away. All right, there are issues of incompatibility. What are incompatible things? They can be intelligence, they can be money matters, cultural incompatibility. All right, ये सारी चीजें बीच में आती है कि जहां पे just two people cannot go together. अच्छा, मैं ये बात नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि these are always very romantic relationships. This could be with your neighbor also, some uncle aunt of yours, some cousin of yours also, you are just incompatible. तो कई बार ये होता है कि अरे वो दीदी नहीं यार, वो दीदी बहुत दिमाग खाती है, अरे वो अंकल नहीं यार, ऐसा हो जाता है कभी कभी. व्हाई? यू जस्ट फाइंड कि तुम्हारे थॉट्स और वैल्यूज उनके थॉट्स और वैल्यूज वो मैच नहीं करते. देयर आर नेबर्स, देयर आर कलीग्स इन द सेम ऑफिस, लेकिन यार उसका क्या अलग ही चलते रहता, उसका अलग ही चलते रहता. मतलब क्या हो रहा है? वर्किंग इन द सेम प्लेस, but you are just not compatible with each other, your thoughts and values and ideas, ये सब चीज. Life transitions is something very important because, like I was just mentioning, my undergraduate student, 10 years or 20 years later, if I start treating, this person the same way as she was sitting in front of me, in a classroom, I think then there is a problem with me and this relationship. If I don't end the student wala relationship and take it to the, more mature, equal professional relationship, that is a problem. These life transitions can come in many ways. These might be transfers, these might be change of jobs, this might be a change in your house, locality, you move from one place to another. These life transitions also are important. Marriage, for example, is a very, very important life transition. With this, also certain relationships, they end, or many times you just let go of certain things. You know, there is a beautiful concept in Indian knowledge system, if I use that term, sannyas. I'm very sure you have heard of that. Brahmacharya and then sannyas, grihasti, sorry, brahmacharya, grihasti, sannyas, vanaprastha. What is the meaning of sannyas? Sannyas is nothing else but culturally let go. So when I reach a certain stage, let's say the person reaches a 50, 60 in life or something, there is a newly married couple, my son marries and there is a daughter-in-law who comes home. I have to let go of certain things. Okay, I have to just let go. I mean, me or my wife or whatever, who is sitting here, कि वो किचन का अभी उसको कंट्रोल दे दो, भाई तुम खाना बताओ, ये घर में क्या सजाना है, कौन सा पेंटिंग पसंद है, तुम ले लो। तो ये जो लाइफ ट्रांजिशन में यू हैव टू टेक अ सीट बैक एंड यू हैव टू गिव कंट्रोल टू अदर्स, many times this does not happen because this person has set up the house over 30-40 years of her own hard work, and then to find कि ये मेरा पुराना पेंटिंग था, इसको निकाल के वो बहू आई, उसने भलता पेंटिंग वहां पे लगा दिया, थिंग्स, हम खाना ऐसा बनाते थे, अब वो खाना बाहर से मंगाते, ऐसा होता है। तो ये जो लाइफ ट्रांजिशन के साथ साथ यू हैव टू लेट गो ऑफ अ फ्यू थिंग्स दैट पीपल मेनी टाइम्स आर नॉट एबल टू लेट गो. And then sorry, boundary violations, these boundaries can be ethical, they might also be physical, they might be socio-cultural in nature. तो इसमें एक, I'll tell you, there is just one thing, before I move ahead, or I come to a conclusion. See, bond कब बनता है, मुझे एक बात याद रखो. This is an electron, here somewhere in the circuit, and I have another, what you call atom, and you have seen these, these atom wala things in your whatever school days. ये दो अलग अलग रहते हैं जब तक they are different. If you want to form a bond, it does not happen without a boundary violation. ये थोड़ा ठंडे दिमाग से समझ लो. What that means is this electron has to share a certain boundary, and then there are two electrons over here. You have an H2O that is formed, a CO2 that is formed. Unless and until you cross a certain boundary to a certain extent, you will never form a bond or a relationship. Now the question always is, how much is too much? Okay, ये जो बाउंड्रीज है, तुम कौन सी बाउंड्रीज क्रॉस कर रहे हो, कितने हद तक क्रॉस कर रहे हो, कितनी बार क्रॉस कर रहे हो. आई थिंक दिस इंटेंसिटी एंड फ्रीक्वेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई एम फर्मली ऑफ द बिलीफ that if you just stay, always apart from each other, I'm talking not about the physical relationship, I'm just talking about the thoughts and ideas, you will never be able to form a relationship. So yes, there has to be a certain give and take of ideas, certain exchange, wherein you will have to, or you might end up crossing certain boundaries. But always make sure that this does not happen to the extent that actually relationships start crumbling, to the extent that you start dictating that this is the way it should be. That is where actually problems usually happen. Otherwise, you know it is always okay to share. Are sharing kya hota hai? When you share something means there is a common space between the two of you. That is what sharing is all about. Anyway, and then there is a psychological growth in different directions. So this psychological growth may be based on your emotions, based on your motives. Somebody has a motivation, more academically oriented. Someone has a motivation more family oriented, more money oriented. These, different types of orientations that might also sort of drift you apart. And then ending is not always a failure. It can be developmentally necessary. Okay, ending is not always necessarily, a breakup and tissues, flying into the dustbin. It is something that is needed many a times. Relationships have to mature and you have to move on in life. So whenever you talk about ending a relationship, this is probably my last slide. You have to first ask why the relationship started. All right. Usually, this is where the entire problem is. This relationship was purely biochemical in nature. In your age, a teenage, there is this burst of adrenaline, and then you have a relationship. All right, because that radio and all those newspapers and the entire social media is telling you, oh, you don't have a girlfriend, oh, you don't have a boyfriend. So you feel almost compelled to, oh, everybody's having this, I'm not having one, you have to have one. And then you end up in a very bad sort of a relationship. So what is it that is compelling into you into relationships is something that you have to ask yourself first. Are you more motivated by simply biochemicals? Are you simply motivated more by financial factors only because social media, everybody is posting friends, I mean, photos with girlfriends and boyfriends, but I don't have one, so I should have one. I think you are going to create a mess of your life. All right, you are not going to able to sustain that, and not to mention many times photographs, ye, wo, dunya bhar ka lafda uske sath. Keep away from these things if you are not very sure why you want to do that. So ask why it all started. It will be very easy for you to end, the reason why it should end. So not all relationships are meant to last forever. All right, not all, but some or all of them rather are meant to teach something. Every relationship teaches you something. There's another beautiful phrase in English. Anything that does not kill you makes you stronger. So whatever relationship that you've been to, look at Varsha madam now. She has been in my class for 3 years and she has survived. So that has definitely made her stronger. So anything that does not kill you makes you stronger. So any relationship that you're talking about, you have to, look at it, that what is it that I'm able to learn from that. Is it something that able to individualize, personalize, bring it inside of me so that I'm better prepared to face relationships tomorrow in life. This is something that you need to basically more or less take care of. I was mentioning neurotransmitters, dopamine and oxytocin and all. You are very well aware of these things, so I don't think I went into all of these details, but that is an overview of the various factors that would affect and sustain relationships, why it would start and why it would end. So before I, hand it back to you, wishing you a very happy, healthy, lifelong relationships to one and all out there. And then, ma'am, if we could have some questions on that side. I hope I am well within time. Am I?
Yes, sir, very much, very much. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm more
This
concerned about
this
your
was
had I
this
been gone
was
longer. Yeah.
I'm sure, sir. And this was such an insightful and thought-provoking session. And like you just suggested, we shall now proceed to the question and answer session. So I request the participants and faculties here uh, to ask questions, if any. So the floor is open for questions.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm
Yes,
Varsha
good
Dandle,
afternoon.
as you know that very well aware. Sir, I'm not survived. I think that I'm very much privileged, and I don't find any words right now. But I just want to. I'm a little bit emotional here, but just I want to ask you a question, sir. As a
Yes.
student, I have always admired the depth you bring to understand the human relationship world. But based on your views, based on your years of teaching and mentoring, what one psychological insight do you believe matter most when we start, sustain, and eventually let go the relationship?
One particular psychological dimension.
Yes, sir. Overall.
Overall, see, overall, I'll tell you. I mean, the dimension is one, but I'm going to tell you three things about that. All right. Number one, does it help me? Number one, does it help the person around me, whatever that relationship that I am into? And number three, does it help the society around me? All
Okay.
right. These are three very simple, commonsensical things that you have to follow. Now, what I mean by that, does it help me? Many times, yes. Because I'm abusing someone, it is helping me. I'm enjoying that. Is it helping someone else? Probably not. But me and that whatever person I'm in relationship, both of us are enjoying that. But we are pickpockets, for example, and the society is at a loss.
Barabar.
All right. So the thing is, all the dacoity part that is being done and the blackmail part, no, but that is not helping the society. So as a sane, rational individual, you should always ask in any relationship, my growth, your growth, and importantly the growth around me. Now I'm not talking about a social reformer ki pure desh ka mujhe growth karna hai. It could be like the classroom, it could be my college and institution, it could be only 10-15 people around me, but whatever my reach is, this is what I would always look forward to.
Thank you so much, sir.
And nice to see you, Varsha, after a long time.
Hello, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes, I
I
can.
had a question related to adjustment anxiety. We talked about a lot of starts, but like the changes that new starts bring, it always comes with like some sort of adjustment anxiety. And more we see in society now that people are like, especially after COVID, we see that they're not as comfortable with like starting new things. It may it be like a new job, may it be like a romantic relationship, may it be like even going to universities. So yeah, what are your thoughts about it, and like maybe some ways to deal with it?
See, to begin with, anxiety is not always bad. Now, you
Yes,
might find it a bit counterintuitive, but let's turn it the other way around. Anxiety is not always bad. If we did not have anxiety, we would not have survived. Okay. Sorry. Anxiety is an inbuilt mechanism within ourselves that allows us to survive. So, I mean, I'm trying to give you a perspective. A deer is not anxious. It does not have anxiety. A tiger is approaching. It will be just be devoured, right? So there has to be a certain anxiety that makes us run away and feel safe. That is one thing. So let's not look at anxiety as a bad thing. You've heard of a Yerkes-Dodson law. What that says is arousal. It does not use the term anxiety per se, but very close to that. Arousal and performance. When arousal is very low, performance is low. Arousal goes up, performance increases. And as you know, typically more of a bell-shaped curve sort of a thing. So on the baseline, you have arousal. Here you have performance P. As you reach a certain stage, you have. Oh, sorry. I think I've turned off the what you call presentation. I was putting there. Then I realized. Anyway, it's
no,
a bell-shaped curve,
no, sir.
and
Yeah.
as you know, your arousal goes beyond a certain limit, your performance goes down. All right, that's the overall thing. Now, what has happened is the thing that you are mentioning too. This has
Mhm.
always been there with individuals. Let me tell you that everybody, was always anxious before more or less starting a relationship or before more or less, getting into a job and everything. So it's not something new that is happening. What is probably happening more is it is getting shared very prominently. So earlier it was limited to two, three, four people. I would only share with, two, three, four people around me. Yaar, kal se naya job hai mera, kya hoga, how to do, what to do. Today, everybody is posting that everywhere, and there are WhatsApp groups and communities, and everybody thinks, oh my God, there is something happening. All right, तो ये थोड़ा सा multiply हो जाता है, exponential many a times. That is one thing. Secondly or thirdly, I'll tell you today what has happened is I'll tell you more about what's happening around. Probably from my perspective, today the
Sure, please,
world
sir.
is a world of disruption. You've heard this term often. Earlier, there were systems that were relatively stagnant, structured over maybe a couple of decades at least. तो बढ़िया वो चलते रहता था, people coming in and getting out of school and getting their jobs, moving out. What has happened now is disruption. So in that disruption cycle, unless and until you bring down an existing system, a new one does not come up. So the whole idea of startups and all, what we read is the success story of only 1% of the startups. 99% have failed, and we are not even aware of that. Nobody tells you about those failure stories. But all that put apart, when disruptions come in your life, they bring with them a lot of anxiety. Okay, so when you look at the world around you, yes, this is happening. Then you talk about relationships. All right, investing in a relationship has become very heavy. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the number of relationships, if you are talked to, earlier there used to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 people around you whom you would know. Today you are so dependent on one person for one relationship. You are mostly consumed into that. That leads you to be very cautious that what if this decision goes wrong, then you know what's going to happen with me. So these are a few things that are inbuilt into us because they put us into survival mode all the time. All right, now the question is, having said just this a few dimensions, right, from the economic to the social to the personal ones, how to overcome these. Overcoming these is, again, as simple as it comes. It is all based on your decision making. I mentioned there in the last slide, why did your relationship start? If you are aware of the fact as to why you are starting the relationship, I think it would be very easy for you to sustain with the relationship, to basically to get into a relationship. Okay. If you don't want to start a relationship only because you are very anxious that it might go wrong, then I think the problem is not really with the relationship per se, but the problem is with me, within myself and my anxieties. Now, how to deal with my anxieties? I think we are now going into the area of counseling more than relationships. Okay. So, you know how to deal with anxiety, the counselor part of it, that can be dealt with separately. But I think, yes, that point is really appreciated. And I do find that happening all around me. People are afraid to get into relationships. Commitment is the term that mostly people use, but that's probably the same thing you are saying. Marriage is again a big, issue, a commitment, whether to get into this or not. I think it all comes with a huge change in social structure that is happening right now. If you recall, I mentioned all the socio-cultural parts of it, the financial and independence part of it. Everything goes down into making a relationship. No relationships ever exist in vacuum. Okay. So I think you should look at it from that composite point of view. Young man, anything else I've missed you would like to
No,
add?
sir, that
Or
was
I
a
think,
very satisfactory answer. Thank you very
okay,
much.
thank you.
Yes.
Sharda Gupta, ma'am, please. I think ma'am has raised her hand.
So, very good evening, sir.
Hello, good
Uh,
evening.
it was a very insightful session, and I've really enjoyed every bit of it. You said, I have one question, and you said one
Please.
point that nowadays, for any relationship issues, the securities does not any longer depends upon the family, but a person can look outside because from outside he's getting more support. So, uh, if societal support is becoming the primary space for resolving relationship issues, what does that suggest about the evolving role of family in emotional resilience?
Yes, I think
The
fantastic.
modern family dynamics are changing.
Yes, yes, I completely agree. I completely agree. These dynamics, ma'am, are, I think, huge. All right. See, first of all, I'll try to put it in a perspective that I'm not against social security being provided. So please, nobody, including the young students sitting out here, don't try to misinterpret that. Ki, oh, because there is security and that's why now, families are breaking or something like that, or, people are moving away. No, 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 it's not like that. Security is always important. It is most important. But the way people used to be restricted within relationships, now they find a space, like ma'am said, a socially secure space within which, they can survive. Now, what happens with the family? All right. The resilience part is something that actually really comes from within the family. All right. That role will never go away. The very early part of it, when I said that biologically we are born in a family based on social bonds, and that has allowed us to survive. So unless and until that resilience is not built in from within the family, I think things are, not going to help you in later life. Now I'll give you some very examples as to how things happen and they should not happen. For example, satisfying every need of the child. Just because I have the money, I should not be satisfying every need of the child. All right, the marshmallow experiment, if some of the psychology students could recall, there is something called holding on and waiting for, something to be earned rather than simply being gifted away to you. This is the resilience that I think the family has to build in. I mean, food, for example, I'll give you another, simple thing that happens in families, ma'am, every day today. I mean, not every family, but I'm just, trying to put a picture here. In the evening, the boy wants to have a Manchurian and the girl wants to have a biryani. And what the parents do is, okay, don't fight. You have your Manchurian and you have your biryani. All right, they are not telling their children that today you have to eat only one day, share with, your sibling. Tomorrow, if you want the next time, that is, we will order what the sister wants or the brother wants, and then the two of you will have to share that again to, together. So this resilience that I'm talking about, simply being able to hold on to my baser instincts and needs and desires, and then being able to stand up and survive and wait for the next time when, a food is ordered. Even these smallest of things have gone missing because I have the money and I can order two different dishes. So you eat what you want to, you eat. So when you stop that sharing and caring within families. So, very naturally that starts impacting your personality. Now, this is what people carry into their relationships in adult life, and they they want their partner to always follow, because I get what I want always. I've never learned to share it with my own sister for the last 20 years. How am I going to share it with someone within 2 months of my whatever marriage or something? So I think families even today have the most pivotal role to play into building resilience and sharing, caring, and understanding.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank you so much,
much.
sir. So just yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was really insightful, like discussion about the relationship anxiety and the immediate and delayed gratification, we just discussed. Moving on, we now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, of MGM University, Dr. Vilas Sapkar, sir, to kindly address the gathering with his special remarks and motivational message. Sir, over to you. Can you hear me? Sir, mute. You're muted from the other end, sir. Your screen. Sir, you have been muted from your system, I guess. Give us a moment. Hello. You are still muted, sir. One second.
मला वाटतं सर म्यूट आहेत, अनम्यूट करावं लागेल सरांना. व्हिडिओ दिसतोय आहे, आय थिंक ही इज ऑन म्यूट.
तर आवाज थोडासाच आला, सर. व्हॉल्यूम वाढवता का सिस्टमचं तिथून, ऑफिसमधून? हां हां.
सबका सर म्यूट वर आहे
मैडम
त्यांचा.
माइक
मला
डिसेबल तो
मायक्रोफोन
नहीं
म्यूट वर.
है मानसी मैम, सर का माइक डिसेबल तो नहीं है?
नहीं सर,
प्लीज
यहाँ
चेक.
से अनम्यूटेड ही है सर. सर अनम्यूटेड ही है. उन्हीं के स्पीकर का वॉल्यूम शायद कम है. बीच में थोड़ा आवाज आया था वहां से.
नहीं, स्टिल शोइंग म्यूटेड.
सरांच्या मायक्रोफोनवर तो क्रॉसचा सिम्बल आहे, त्याच्यामुळे तो कदाचित म्यूट वर आहे.
tensor idea and logic. Logic to select the logic.
We will wait for a couple of minutes. Students, please maintain silence. In the meantime, Vilas sir, let's take one more question from a student.
Yes, yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
My question for
yes.
you is, what is more important in a relationship? Like when you meet the person, the timing or the compatibility and the chemistry you have with them?
Timing.
Hello, am I
Okay.
audible?
Okay, yes, yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, you are.
Audible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. There was some technical hitch. It's also called relationship with technology. Yeah? So, sir, you are on mute. So, Vilas Padhye, just thama thoda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Padhye sir, I really wanted to invite you to the campus. As you know that we have entered into MOU with Dr. Homi Bhabha State University. Please give my regards to Dr. Kamath, who is Vice Chancellor, a good friend of mine. And I think our registrar also met you. So it is wonderful talk of your relationship life cycle. As you know that when we call life cycle, the cycle has to get completed. As you know that when you start, you sustain, you come to maybe end and restart. Basically, there can be the relationship, as our youngster know, that the relationship can be given by awarded by birth. So when you are born, so definitely you have relationship with your parents, family, brothers, sisters, and slowly you acquire the relationship maybe with your friends and then also teachers, and then you have this lifelong relationship. As you know that many times this relationship is planned or occasional or accidental or circumstantial. And as you know that when we wish to really draw the coming together is nothing but sharing the strength, wisdom, and efforts. So the relationship has lot of benefits, positive benefits. And when we talk about relationship, it is based on trust and based on what you call respect, sacrifice, acceptance, and of course compromise and accommodating each other. So basically when we decide that the relationship is extremely useful, so there can be always ways and means to sustain it and also have a benefit out of a relationship. As you know that there can be strength development, whether it is professional relationship always gives a lot of professional strength, professional organizational what you call strength and progress. So definitely it's a positive side of relationship. But of course when it is when, as you rightly mentioned, that why you enter into relationship and then why you also go out of relationship. So when we analyze based on, of course, wisdom, patience, and of course tolerance, then there is always possibility of drawing the positive what you call benefits out of any relationship, whether it is family relation, professional relation, or for that matter any relation. And I'm sure that this has not only the, I will not say life cycle, but it can be it can be your shelf life of a relationship. So it cannot be expire date for any relationship. It can be always accommodate your relationship if your purpose is to basically draw the benefits out of the relationship, because you enter into relationship knowing that yes, it can be beneficial and bringing together the strength, wisdom, efforts, and so on. So university is a typical example of relationship, like student, teacher, teachers and teacher, teaching and non-teaching, and decision making. And you are of course registrar, so you know how many types of relationship you have to really honor. and then the relationship goes very long when you become very mature, you become serious, and you compromise, and many times show the wisdom. So I'm sure that relationship, because youngster talk about only one type of relationship, but that is the biggest, of course, the strength, making the strength to youngster, to create networking and sharing. So I'm sure that the great things come, like now we have already relationship between the two universities, and definitely we will have uh, great benefits out of the collaborative relationship, what you call knowledge collaboration and knowledge relationship. So I thank you for accepting our invitation, and look forward for your more and more insightful engagement with our university. Look forward your next visit to our university. Thank you so much. All the best. So I
Thank
need
you,
to
sir.
leave. So I thank you for sparing your time. Thank you so much.
I'm honored, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. We now request our respected director, sir, Dr. KP Singh, sir, to kindly propose the vote of thanks, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mansi. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vilas Padhye, sir, respected Speaker of the Day, my dear colleagues, dear participants, as we arrive at the conclusion of today's enriching session under the MGM University Mental Health Awareness Webinar Series, it is my proud privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of MGM University Institute of Social Sciences. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our speaker of the day, Dr. Vilas Padhye, sir, Registrar, Dr. Homi, Bhabha, State University, Mumbai. The topic which you have chosen today, psychological perspective on the relationship life cycle, start, sustain, let go, offered us a profound understanding of contemporary relationship dynamics. You have insightfully highlighted how relationships today are increasingly commercialized, how families are often perceived as business-like units, and how they shift towards independent careers, individual aspirations. There's so many aspects you have touched. They are really very important, as well as we have to ponder over for a harmonious relationship. Overall, my deep sense of gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, MGM University, for his visionary leadership and constant encouragement in promoting mental health awareness initiatives. And we are equally thankful to the Registrar of MGM University, Dr. Ashish Kadekar, sir, for his unwavering administrative support, and the Dean School of Social Sciences and Humanities for providing academic guidance and institutional backing for this meaningful programs. I would like to place it on record our sincere appreciation for Department of Psychology, especially Dr. Mansi, Dr. Amruta, Ms. Pratna Pote, Ms. Varsha, Dr. Kalpana Mote, Dr. Anas Aslam, Dr. Aslam Malik, and Dr. Ampali Jogdand for their valuable support, coordination, and contribution towards the successful organization of this webinar. I also extend heartfelt thanks to all the faculty members and staff of the Institute of Social Sciences for their support and cooperation behind the scenes and efforts they have taken. Last but not the least, I thank all the guests, participants, our beloved students for their enthusiastic presence, thoughtful engagement, and active interaction, which truly enriched today's discussion. With these words, I once again express our sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to the success of this meaningful session. Thank you all and have a pleasant and purposeful time ahead with a harmonious relationship, which was the purpose of this webinar. So best wishes. Thank you so much. And again, I would like to thank to our honorable speaker of the day, Thank you, sir, for joining us. We are looking forward in person in the campus. I hope that you will accept our invitation sometimes and you will come over here, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for this very insightful session.
Sir.
Over to you, Dr. Mansi.
Uh, yes, once again, thank you so much, sir. And yes, we definitely hope to see you in person. With this, we declared this, now we are closing the webinar. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.